Thank you very much, Madam Chairlady, our esteemed Governor General, Sir S.W. Tapley Seaton. I want to crave your indulgence in adopting the protocol so ably led before me. Save and accept, I must recognize and acknowledge the presence of my cabinet colleagues and to thank them for coming after what has been an important day in the life of our Parliament. But especially, I want to recognize our Attorney General, the Honorable Vincent Byron, who has championed this project and has been the lead minister in our cabinet over the last 7 years in relation to matters of justice. And I can dare say that he spends a lot of time debating, talking, and thinking about matters of justice. And equally, I found that he spent a very long period of time also thinking about matters of ICT. And so he has had the chance in the configuration of this edifice to add those search engines and the application of ICT to make this building functional. I want to thank him because I know he has always been passionate about issues of justice. And as he spoke earlier with respect to the government of national unity, I recall before then, in the period prior to the formation of the government, he was one of those persons who gave me strong support, counsel, and guidance. Perhaps he had recalled then that he had taught me history at the Barstow High School, sixth form, and elsewhere. But I remember as he spoke on issues of leadership and his expectations, and in particular perhaps the broader expectation as to where the country lay then and what he felt were the national agenda. He says, Timothy, there are 3 principles of leadership I want you to take on. One of them, importantly, his wife knows 2. I recall one, he knows all 3. But one of them that he kept saying, social justice. This issue of justice had troubled him at that difficult period as we went through that 26 months hiatus in relation to the motion of no confidence. And it led me to reflect largely on what this justice was. Was justice just simple the matter of the process of going to our courts to seek justice? Or was justice more importantly for the ordinary citizen and resident in our country more to do with outcomes? And I still have not found the ground, because the process, of course, would help to guide the outcome. But for the ordinary citizen who wants their justice, it is the feeling of the need that whatever the intermediary institution that is being used to deliver that justice, for them is getting their justice, something that they can feel, something that resolves their grievance with respect to a particular matter. And we hope, therefore, that in this new beautiful edifice that has been created here, justice will flow in all of its forms. I feel particularly pleased to have come today. In fact, having thought how the budget session would go today, I had declined the invitation gently of coming and delivering, quote unquote, the feature address. But I'm happy that I let that burden be carried by the man who is pursuing and leading the government's agenda for justice in the land. I am happy that we have come because today is critically important as it shows how far, how wide the government's agenda is as we attempt to deliver a stronger and safer future for our federation. Today, in my view, we deliver another key promise, something quite literally concrete. We deliver on our promise to enhance the justice system in St. Kitts and Nevis. The Attorney General outlined all the reforms, or some of them, in terms of the addition of magistrate court, the introduction of the night court system, all of them novel in some ways in the context of St. Kitts and Nevis. We could say that in our last 7 years, how we expanded the access of justice by having somewhat 3 judges in our federation, 2 on the island of St. Kitts and 1 on the island of Nevis. And so, Justice Morris, we welcome you and we thank you for your service. My government has been committed to improving the quality and the accessibility of the judicial system for all our citizens and residents. Of course, it is perhaps not too well known that St. Kitts and Nevis as a country rank extremely well on the World Justice Project Rule of Law and on the strength of our judicial system. Indeed, for several years, we were the #1 ranked country in terms of the rule of law in our OECS region. That is a proud record, and we sometimes take these accomplishments, these signal development in the quality of life of our country for granted. We must not take our institutions for granted. Yes, there will always be more that we can improve and invest in. We often think of the strength of our legal system in terms of the quality of our legal minds, and that is important, and of course the fairness of our system. Bricks and mortar also build justice, and that is why we have this edifice today. The bricks and mortar provide the safe environment in which justice can be sought and justice can be delivered. This means ensuring that our hard-working legal professionals have the facilities and equipment which they need to conduct their work to the highest standards. And it means having the chambers available so cases can be processed in an appropriate and timely manner. If the government of the day does not provide the facilities and equipment needed, then we only hamper the legal practitioners who are seeking to support our citizens and residents in the search for justice. And without available chambers, excessive delays can place a cloud of uncertainty over the lives of our people, and in the worst case, discourage them from seeking recourse of the law. I note from the presentation of Permanent Secretary Francis that the courthouse annex will be occupied by several key facilities. First of all, we have the Magistrate Court Chamber, which will serve the people in 2 ways. It will cater primarily to in-camera juvenile matters. I hope that no young person ever have to pass through the legal system. However, we can all agree that when necessary, minors should be processed as efficiently as possible. To do this, we need the appropriate facilities and enough chambers for their cases to be heard as quickly as possible. Secondly, this magistrate court chamber may also be utilized in support of the Night Court initiative to address the backlog of cases which the Attorney General alluded to. My government has identified reducing backlogs in cases and the times that citizens wait to secure justice as a key priority to be addressed in all urgency. Chambers such as these are what we are doing to help address this priority. In addition to the Magistrate Court Chamber, there is also the state-of-the-art law library. This perhaps represents a jewel in the crown of our legal infrastructure that will benefit the legal fraternity and, of course, all other interested persons. It will be a significant resource center equipped with the latest search engines, books, periodicals available to all stakeholders and the general public at large. Having such a state-of-the-art facility will ease and improve the quality of the legal practitioner's work, ensuring that all our citizens have accessible and high-quality legal services. Finally, we are also opening, I am advised, 3 mediation rooms that will be filled by a cadre of well-trained mediators working under the National Mediation Committee. Mediation is often a far superior path to conflict resolution than litigation. It can reduce costs to both the interested parties and the state, and it certainly can lead to more mutually beneficial settlements. It is crucial that as an island, and indeed as a country, St. Kitts and Nevis stays at the forefront of developing trends and alternative approaches to conflict resolution. We could hardly think of any entity or space in which conflict resolution skills would not be useful. We need them in the family. We need them in the church. We need them in the cabinet. We need them in our Chamber of Industry and Commerce. We need them in our classrooms. We need them in our society at large. This means ensuring that we have the space where it can take place and trained mediators to support those who seek it. And so I was very pleased to have learned how we have expanded the role of the trained mediators that are available to those who are seeking justice. Mediation has the added benefit of keeping litigants out of courts and reducing backlogs and waiting times throughout the legal system. One of the challenges with the mediation is sometimes you go through that, and at the end, you still have to go back to the court, and that takes up a lot of time, and you wonder why. And so perhaps this is something that the Attorney General and the legal fraternity will have to pay attention to, because too many of our citizens can't wait to make it a second round of wait and time to have justice being delivered to them. I believe, of course, that this is an important undertaking that we are doing, and I'm delighted to have come to be part of the grand opening of the Courthouse Annex with its Magistrate Court Center, its state-of-the-art library, and its mediation rooms, all of which together reduce waiting times and increase the standards of our legal system. While I am proud of today's concrete achievements, I hope that it is only the beginning, because I am sure my good friend and teacher, the Honorable Attorney General, will want a lot more things to happen to advance the cause of justice in our federation. And so I pledge as Prime Minister and Minister of Finance to continue supporting these investments throughout our legal system. The aim is that we deliver the rule of law and the attendant prosperity that all our citizens and residents of St. Kitts and Nevis deserve. But last but not least, I want to say I deem it a singular honor to support and witness the naming of this annex in honor of the Venerable Sir S.W. Tapley Seaton, who has served his country and people with remarkable honor, humility, and distinction. And he has been a high source of inspiration to me and so many of us in St. Kitts and Nevis and around the region. Could we give him a special hand of applause? Who is this of our most meritorious citizen and whom the honor is being bestowed today? He need no public pronouncement because the Governor General, Sir S.W. Tapley Seaton, has almost been there everywhere in terms of the judicial undertakings in our country and in the region. He had the distinction of being chosen way back then, a young man, as the Attorney General of the independent country of St. Kitts and Nevis. But importantly, he had served then in a prior administration. So it shows then that the public confidence in his character, in his ability to rise to the standard of nation building were well, good, and intact. I'm advised that he is the son of a former senator, William A. Seaton, who so ably represented St. Kitts, Nevis, and Gwilla when he served as a member of the Senate of the West Indies Federation for the period 1958 to 1962. So it is good to see that family ties, that familial connection in service, in support of national and regional development is continuing in Sir Tapley. And for completeness, I must mention that he is the younger brother of Miss Margaret Foreman, who is also one of the leading legal minds in our federation. As Attorney General and now as our esteemed Governor General, Sir Tapley's patience in dealing with his staff, some of whom are here, his colleagues and others, made its own indelible positive mark. His contributions to the practice of law and the administration of justice in the state also speaks eloquently for itself. Not only was he the president of the St. Kitts Nevis Bar Association, president of the Rotary Club, vice president of the OECS Bar Association, and later its president, but he was always on standby to fit any civic slot which developed and which needed high-level professional attention. So we thank you, Sir Tapley, for all that you have done and all that you will do in the future. Commendations and this signal honor today. I also want finally to also note the long and distinguished service of the first Black librarian, Eulalie Byron, in whose honor the library is being named in commemoration of her pioneering role as a librarian. Could we give her too a special hand? It is my hope that these two distinguished personalities who are honored today, their work, their contribution to nation building would guide the efforts of all of us who come into contact with the justice system. And we will try hard to surpass them in the highest standards of public service for which they have been acclaimed. We must try to surpass them in their industry, their competence, and in their distinction. May it please you, I thank you.